Hi all, welcome to my channel. Today we will learn how to read. This video on how to read would be insignificant video for a YouTube for many of you because you might think that these videos are as equivalent as videos like how to walk or how to drink water. But to be frank, this is very significant because most of us think that we read right, but we don't. Because we don't know ourselves what mistakes we do. Only when we know what mistakes we do, only then we can correct it. If we don't know the mistakes itself, then we should find means to know what are the mistakes and then we should correct it. And that is why this video is welcome to know how to read. So here is the assessment. Let's attend it. Now, the matter of concern is which is the most appropriate answer and which is not. Where all always is the answer, that is the appropriate one, and the rest other things are not. So, if your answers are all towards always, then you are a good reader. But if it is not, then you will have to improve. So, improving in reading means that becoming skillful in reading and becoming fluent in reading. This means that we will have to train ourselves in various means and find out our mistakes and unlearn many things. Before becoming skillful in any of the aspects or skills, firstly we will have to know what are the values that that skill possesses and what are the advantages that we get and we give to others in that through that skill. So now let's see what are the importance of reading and what are the values of reading. The importance of reading are many. The first is reading is freedom because many great leaders and many great legends that we know have always been a great reader, and that is the reason why their thinking is efficient and skillful. Reading gives us thinking, and thinking gives us freedom, and freedom gives us ways to explore our own world of imagination and reality, both. So, reading gives us freedom, which is the ultimate thing that anyone would want. Secondly, reading gives us concentration. Anyone who reads for long is the one who is having high concentration power. Because when we read, we get distracted a lot, and that is the reason why we say we do not have concentration. Once a person learns to read skillfully, then he will also be able to drag his concentration and constrict himself to what he actually wants to. So, these are all the benefits of reading. And thirdly, the most important thing is once any person becomes skillful in reading, that doesn't mean he becomes only skillful in reading. He also becomes skillful in writing as well as speaking, because it is the ultimate knowledge that we need for either writing or speaking, and that knowledge comes from reading, so that any good reader, efficient reader, will be an efficient speaker as well as efficient writer. Now, these are all the advantages. Now, what we ourselves will have to do to improve our reading. Firstly, reading and becoming efficient in reading will be possible only by practice. Half an hour a day, everyone have to read. And for surprise, reading half an hour a day makes one complete 40 books a year. And 40 books a year is one great education. And spending half an hour a day and getting one great education is really fantastic. And why do we have to miss it? Secondly, 4 centuries ago, there were 1,000 books a year. But today, 1,000 books a day. That makes us loaded with different kinds of books. Some rubbish, some gives us wonderful experiences. So, selectivity matters. We will have to be keen in selecting our book that we read, as we do not feed rubbish to ourselves, we should also not feed rubbish to our brain. And that is why selection is important. And based upon the selection of the book, our interests on further reading also enhances. Thirdly, we all will have to be critical. Criticality means that we should not just go on reading. We will have to put our thoughts while reading. We will have to set up our thoughts and ideas and principles that we have in our mind, and will have to conduct a debate between us and the author who has written that book. And we will have to find which thought is right, whether we are wrong or he is wrong. And one very important thing is that anything that is written in book is not always right. It is some other person who, like you, has put the thought that he had, and he is not one ultimate person whose thought we will ought to oblige to. So we will have to see and compare the thoughts that we have and the author have, and come to a conclusion of the right opinion. And this is what is ultimately going to make you a skillful reader. Nextly, one great question in this present generation is, why do we have to read? Reading well or reading is different. Why do we have to read is the question. And I would think that this question is really foolish. And anyone who has asked this question is the one who has not known the fact. The fact is that one book is millions of dreams. The reason is that one book is filled with millions of dreams. For example, people say, why do we have to read now? We have movies, we have audiobooks, and many other things. But, for example, take a movie. There is one movie which millions of see, and it is that one movie all the millions see, and ultimately, though millions see, it is that one movie. But you have a book, and millions read, and it is not that only one book, it is millions of book, because once you read, there is a imagination that you create yourself in your mind, and that imagination is nowhere comparable to another person. And of course, that imagination is different from all. So that means one book gives you one imagination, and similarly to millions, and there you have millions of books, millions of dreams, and millions of movies. For example, you read a storybook, and in the course of time, the same storybook is made into a film, and you have liked that film so nicely that you are enthusiastic to see the movie and see it virtually. And once you see the movie and return back, you will come out with complete upset, because it is damn sure that that movie would have not fulfilled your expectations, because your imagination is the peak of your expectation, and no other's imagination or no other movies or no other forms can beat the imagination of yourself. And that is the value of a book. And that is the reason why everyone will have to cultivate the habit of reading, to enhance their imagination, and also to experience the complete joy of life. Most of us do not read properly because of some mistakes that we did when we were child. It was not completely our mistakes though, but still, we should not do that mistakes to our little ones. Most of us were not heard of reading. That means we did not hear our parents reading, or we did not hear our elders reading, or something like that. There is a research that says that the children who are reading in those classes where the teachers read aloud are good in their education, and those children who are reading in the classes where the teachers do not read aloud are poor in education. And this is because listening to someone reading gives us interest to read, and that will be the thrust to get ourselves skillful in reading. And once the child grows and grows, he starts focusing on reading and realizes the importance of reading. And that's why we will have to start reading to our young ones, so that they do not face the problem of lacking interest in reading. It is our responsibility to make our little ones to gain interest on reading. Thirdly, very important thing is that what was good for a child is not good for an adult. I mean that when we were a child, we were said to read word by word. And now we are not a child, but still we continue the same. It was right for a child, but not for an adult, because now we will have to read sentences together, phrases together, but now still we continue to read word by word. And that is the reason why we lack the skill of reading. So now we will have to stop reading word by word. So we have seen all these things. But how do we do all these things? We have known what we should do, but we don't know how we should do. And for this, we have to train ourselves. For becoming skillful in reading, we should train two things. Firstly, we will have to train our eyes. Secondly, our brain. And we will see how to train our eyes and brain in our subsequent videos. Thank you. See you all in my next video.